talking to family businesses, the values of the family have permeated themselves, into the business. Would you mind sharing, if you know them off the top of your head? If you don't know them, that's A-okay. But if you do, know the family's values, and have they permeated into the business, and how, and if so, how?
All right, I'll kick it off. My dad had 3 or 4 sayings. I already gave you one of those. If you're going to do something, have a passion and a purpose for it. But he had, for family coming into the business, he had, the first one was, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And I actually have an hour-long keynote based on that for family businesses and other businesses that is geared towards the people I shouldn't have to say it to, people that come into business without a passion. And those are usually the family members, because there's that legacy trap that they get sucked into. Your last name's on the business. I mean, who else are we going to give it to? You got to be here. And, if you look at Anthony and Danny, I mean, they didn't want to be a restaurateur for the rest of their lives until they're 65, work every single holiday, work every weekend, and be there until 2 o'clock in the morning and miss every event in every person's life that is meaningful to them. So, I mean, they were there for my meaningful moments, but not their own people. His other one was, your last name's a responsibility. It's never a privilege. That when you have the last name, the same one on the company, that is a responsibility, and don't ever throw it around like it means anything. And you're going to get paid for what you do, not for who you are. And that was right from day one. You're going to get a penny, a piece of duck hanger. You're going to get a penny for each one you do, or a half a penny. So you're going to get paid for what you do. I'm paid as the president and CEO. I have 3 brothers who are partners. And on the ownership side, we're all paid evenly if we declare a bonus or a dividend at the end of the year. But for what we do, we are paid differently. So if my brother wants to be a service technician, and my second oldest brother, David, he's paid as a commercial service technician and works for a commercial manager who works for a VP, who works for an executive VP, who technically works for me. So I'm kind of 4 degrees of separation from my brother. That's maybe sometimes a good process in a family business, but those were pretty much his hardcore philosophies. And those are the ones that we have lived by and have really guided us in our actions and our thoughts. And then really the one item you could talk about for hours is culture in an organization, and the family is going to set that culture, and those set the culture for the family.
That's awesome. Just real quick, did your dad, come up with those on his own? Were those something that, he read in a family business book, or, something? Because, those are exactly the things that we try to teach family businesses over and over again. And they're so hard for most people to pick up on and utilize.
Well, Jeff knows my dad very well. He probably came up with those himself, but wouldn't take credit for it. He might have, what we call R&D, robbed and duplicated them from somebody. But really, those were the basis of what he really thought you should always have as an equity business, not a lifestyle business. And Isaac is an equity business. We run it like it's General Electric. So I'm not sure where he got them from, but they've been repeated to us over the years. And that was something that was our orientation, our handbook when we came into the business. That's the family handbook. And I think it had 1 page on it, and those 3 were written on it. So
love it. Thank you. Anthony, within your family, what are the values that are guiding the business? It's really neat. Both of you, if you go to the family's websites, it talks about the values right up there, and you can see them. But would you mind sharing them with us?
Sure. And obviously there's a reason Ray and I are on this together. I think there's a lot of synergy between the dynamics of the companies and the family history. When my father had the restaurants on East Avenue, the front page of the menu had the words passion and integrity. And growing up, Ray used the same passion word. And again, if you don't love what you're doing, it shows. And again, regardless of the widget that you're selling to people, people can tell whether you care about what you're doing, and that'll translate into whether you care about what you're doing for them and if you care about them. And so the passion has to do with, wanting to be where you are, and the integrity is standing behind whatever it is you're providing, knowing that you're not perfect, and that if you didn't do it right the first time, you'll do it right the second time. Since that time, the restaurant business, my brother and I, if you go to any of our car washes, a lot of our employees have pins that they wear on their hats. There's a brass emblem next to the front door of every car wash with the initials WIT, and WIT stands for whatever it takes. And so when an employee, when a fairly new employee does something going above and beyond for a customer or for the business itself, they're awarded a pin, a WIT pin. And so, you know, while we have rules and we have a handbook and there are laws of the state of New York and the federal government and morals and standards, there is also the doing whatever it takes to make our customers happy. And so they're almost allowed a free pass aside from the rules, as long as they can look us in the face and say, I did it because I felt it was the right thing to do for the customer. They'll never get reprimanded, and they'll be applauded for doing whatever it takes to make people happy. And then I guess the overlying theme of our organization is, in fact, hospitality. And you could tie that WIT, you can tie passion and integrity into that. And that's one of the funny things when we got into the car wash business, you know, all of our employees wear bow ties and pressed blue shirts. And, you know, what does a bow tie have to do with washing cars? Absolutely nothing. But what we've decided when we started that car wash business was we weren't selling washing cars. We were selling a feeling that you get as a customer when you first pull into the property, the first smile you see from the kid that's spraying your car, and, you know, going through to the show of the car wash. Now, at the end, hopefully your car is clean. If it's not clean, that's going to be a problem eventually. But cleaning the car is not a big deal. Fixing a furnace is probably not a big deal. It's everything else that goes around with it. You know, there's a lot of companies that fix furnaces, but you know, it goes way beyond just the bag of tools. And those are the underlying principles of the company.
Yeah, you know, when we were talking earlier, when we started, you said, you know, those values and that passion and that was written on the top of the menu. You just said that it doesn't matter what business you're in. And that's what's really, you know, you've taken what you've learned from mom and dad and that hospitality feel, and now it's going into a whole nother industry. And I would imagine that no matter what industry you were in, whether it was, you know, real estate development or, you know, it was, you know, retail, you're going to bring that same level of service and attitude and hospitality to that. And that's pretty unique. I think at the end of the day, what it really boils down to is kind of the purpose, you know, of the Daniele family is to serve. And there may be another word, and you may have talked about that already. And so it just doesn't matter, you know, what the industry is. This is just who you guys are, and you do it very, very well. Thank you.